What show had the perfect ending? Does Chernobyl count despite only being a mini-series? Oh, it absolutely counts. Learning what happened to all of the real people portrayed in the series, seeing what they actually looked like, and learning in such vivid detail what the ultimate cost of the tragedy was, all whilst that really haunting choir sings in the background. Fuck, I tear up just thinking about it. Hell yeah. The final episode was so awesomely great, even though it was basically an hour-long lecture about what happened. I promised myself I would watch it again sometime. Guess the time came. Over the garden wall. The ending was perfect because Viet comes to the realization, along with Beatrice, that what they both did was wrong, and they actively work to fix their mistakes, and it ends in a climatic fight where Viet doesn't physically fight the beast, instead rejecting the beast and finding his own path, and that path led him and his brother home. What an underrated show. Definitely wished we got more of this. Nevertheless, the ending was just beautiful. OTGW is a masterpiece. It's somewhat like a retelling of Dante's Inferno using 1930s style animation tropes. When they sing potatoes and molasses in gratuitous Latin at the end, it gives me chills. Plus the Beast's song. Blackadder goes forth. Oh, we've survived it, the Great War, from 1914 to 1917. Goddamn. A line like that shouldn't be in a comedy. There's a little video from some of the cast and crew where they talk about editing the final shot. Ed, and Eddie. I read that you finally meet Eddie's brother in the finale. I gotta go back and watch that at some point. I remember that final scene actually making me cry. I grew up on the original series, remember when the new season came out with them at school, and then the finale movie. It almost had to have something that was with me my entire childhood wrap up so definitively. Futurama, so good it had 3 perfect endings. 4 endings in fact. The Devil's Hands Are Idle Playthings, Into the Wild Green Yonder, Overclockwise, and then finally Meanwhile were all written as series finales. That show was cancelled a ridiculous number of times. I'm so happy it lasted as long as it did. Not enough people appreciate the ending for that show. 6 Feet Under. Agreed. I came here to post this one. Was rated one of the best series finales ever. Final episode was amazing. Star Trek The Next Generation had a good one. I feel like Q's last speech encompassed what the spirit of Star Trek was supposed to be about, not space battles and charting new planets, but expanding the possibilities of humanity. Great ending. You were always welcome. Gravity Falls. First show to ever make me cry. What really got me were the 2 paper dippers in the rain, that just surprised me. Favorite cartoon show ever, even as an adult. The Good Place, pretty sure I cried. I love it when they put the story before the ratings. There was more than enough audience to warrant another season, but they decided to plan the best ending to the story instead. Very well done. Spoilers: when they left for The Good Place I was confused because there were episodes left and I said, how do you make a compelling story where everyone has their wildest needs met for eternity? But they did it. Fleabag. It'll pass. There is not a single second of that entire show that isn't perfection. The finale hits every item perfectly in such a satisfying way, down to the statue and that fox. Black Sails. So rare to find a show that knows when to end these days. They paint the world full of shadows and tell their children to stay close to the light. The Sopran. Fun fact, my dad's friend is the guy they zoom in on at the diner. He happened to hear about an open casting call in New York, thought, hey, I've got extra time. The producers liked his look, he emigrated from Italy to the US in the 90s, and hired him. He's still known as the guy who ended The Sopranos. Afterwards, he and James Gandolfini struck up a friendship and stayed in contact up until Gandolfini's death. Full Metal Alchemist, Brotherhood. I'm so glad to see this so highly upvoted. I have never seen anything with a more perfect ending, especially considering it's got a perfect ending for all like 30 fucking characters. My favorite anime and one of my favorite stories. I don't watch anime anymore but still try to watch FMAB once a year. Would love to buy the manga collection someday and read it. MASH. I don't know about anyone's opinion but this series had me tearing up in most of the episodes. I think one of the most popular would be Henry's passing, but the first episode that made me cry was in season 1, the one where Hawkeye's friend dies. Ladies and gentlemen, take my advice, pull down your pants and slide on the ice. BoJack Horseman. All the characters got conclusions that they had earned and felt deserved and natural. Some were happy and some were bittersweet but the show was fair to all of them. Oh, and Futurama. All 4 series finales lol. The view from halfway down may be my all-time favorite episode from any TV show ever. It's a nice night, huh? Avatar, The Last Airbender. The writers' wisdom and their respect for the maturity of their young audience to play sad music over the Agnikai between Zuko and Azula impresses me every time. It's a huge scene that's been built up to for 2 seasons but the creators want you to know it's not a good thing that events came to this. I love it so much. I didn't cry during the entire show. Tales of Ba Sing Se? Nothing, Up as Lost Days. I was moved and just heartbroken, but no tears. But when Zuko and Iroh finally reconcile after almost a complete season of them not talking to each other, it fucking broke me and I cried like a baby. Cowboy Bebop. You're gonna carry that weight. This show is so good I don't want to think about it. It wasn't the ending I wanted things to end happily. But it's the ending that show needed. It was beautiful and sad and I don't want to think about it. Breaking Bad. Loved the use of El Paso by Marty Robbins in the finale. I hope Better Call Saul's ending will be equally satisfying. I came here expecting to see this at the top. By far the best TV show I've ever watched. Travelers. Had such an unexpected ending. Scrolled, hoping but not expecting to find this. But yeah, they managed to conclude with a satisfying ending but still left the door open to a follow-up. Can't believe I had to scroll this far down to find this. The show ends perfectly after 3 seasons. It sort of comes full circle by the end. I think it's the best ending for a show, maybe second only to The Good Place. Samurai Champloo. Great ending for a great show, still made me sad. What happened to Nujabes was tragic. Assassination Classroom. Still upsets me but yes I agree. Oh shoot, I didn't realize this was popular. I'm just starting and am 2 episodes in. So I'm not gonna read this thread. Good Omens. I honestly thought the changes they made to the ending in the show were better than the book. Deep Space Nine had a really good one. Especially if you followed the characters since season 1 and saw how they all grew and changed over the 7 seasons. Can you watch DS9 as a standalone series? This answer really needs more upvotes. DS9 was an amazing show, probably the best Trek series emo and laid the foundation for so much of how genre storytelling is done in the medium now. But the ending, just wow. I think very few shows manage to pull off a good ending. In fact it's evident that most don't think that far ahead and struggle to wrap it up. But DS9 nailed it. What We Leave Behind is a true classic of, and masterclass in, television. Malcolm in the Middle. The amount of planning and work Lois did to get Malcolm to the finish line is astounding. We need more moms like her. Lois was completely misguided but when Malcolm quotes Paul McCartney you know that he finally really understands her. I was just re-watching it with my daughter. We both particularly loved the plan for Malcolm we all thought you knew. And that Dewey gets to be incredibly wealthy and do whatever he wants. Code Geass. Man, that show holds up so well. I remember being really worried it would turn into a pretty generic anime from the pace of the first few episodes, but it's now one of my absolute favorites. The ending literally could not have been better. Literal insanity. Mad Men, it's really subtle but really nicely wraps up Don's development as a character and even how American culture changed with the times. Super satisfying. And ending with a Coke commercial. I've got to rewatch it, but I noticed around the final season the Coca-Cola account is clearly a very important symbol to the show from even the first few episodes, I believe. Just a wonderful way to tie it up. Yes. Peggy also has a great ending. Thinking about Betty makes me cry, still. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.